Hi friends, welcome to Ramchandra Chess Academy. Today's lesson is how to avoid opening traps. In the previous lesson we have discussed about opening principles and also learned that the game of chess is broadly divided into three parts for learning purpose: opening, middle game and end game. And it is strongly recommended that beginners should focus more on the middle game and end game instead of wasting time on studying the opening theory. So but for that you need to learn the basics of opening so that you will not fall into any opening traps, or you will not make any blunders in the first 10-15 moves and lose the game in the 20 moves. So how to survive the opening phase of the game, not to fall into any traps without studying much of the theory. There is a famous quote from Garry Kasparov, the name that doesn't require any introduction. He is a Russian grandmaster and former world champion. He says, the highest art of the chess player lies in not allowing your opponent to show you what he can do. What does it mean? It means you should never allow your opponent to play in his comfort zone. You always force him to play out of his home preparation and without using the advantage of his home preparation. So how do we do that? How do we force our opponent to play away from his preparation area? So it all depends on how wisely we choose our openings. So I always believe in one thing, that we must take the road that is less traveled. So if you agree with me, I will show you some interesting stats. This is the opening explorer that I picked from chess.com. Here we can see what are the most frequently played first moves by white. See, on top of the table we have e4, 12,57,000 games, and then the second most frequently played opening is d4, 9,72,000 games. So here we can clearly understand that more than 80% of the games are either started by e4 or d4. So most of the players choosing their first move as either d4 or e4. If you choose any other opening than e4 and d4, that will definitely confuse your opponent at the beginner level. So also you can avoid the bundles of theory, and most importantly the opening traps and the so-called tricks are involved mostly in the e4 and d4. So just by avoiding e4 and d4 for now at the beginner level, you can avoid all the opening traps and also get an equally stronger position. It doesn't mean that we are playing a lesser known opening and we end up with a weaker position. It's not like that. We can still get a playable middle game or end game position by avoiding the e4 and d4 lines. Okay, we have avoided e4 and d4, but what to choose? What is the next best move? There is nothing like a best move. All moves are good. You can start the game with any move that you like, and you can still have a good middle game position. So instead of following the opening theory that has been set 100 years ago, why don't you try some new opening and create your own theory? Okay, we can shortlist a few openings from the list below. Here I would suggest g3 and b3 as the most flexible and consistent openings for white who want to avoid the opening theory and save that time for the middle game and end game preparation. So not only beginners, any intermediate player also can try the g3 and b3 opening. There is nothing wrong with that. I personally tried these openings. I have got good results. Here you can see I have selected the master games. That means grandmasters do play these openings, and also we have avoided the first four openings which are most frequently played. So this is the number 5th and number 6th openings we have selected, and also they do not deviate from our opening principles. Since these are less frequently played openings, that doesn't mean that they are not good. You can see the win percentage for white is 40%. It is higher than any other opening, and with b3 also the win percentage is 38, which is at par with other openings. So Since these are not really tested at higher level and there is not much theory available on these openings, you can choose these openings for your chess career at the beginning level, and you may continue also. Not only at beginner level, you can continue these openings at higher levels also. There is nothing wrong with that. Yeah, here you can see my games. I personally play b3. 2796 games I have played with b3, and you can see my win percentage is 53%. That means more than 50% of the times I am successful with this opening. I do enjoy playing b3, and I have won many online blitz games against NMs and IMs with b3 and g3 openings. So for all the youngsters and beginners out there, I would strongly suggest you to play b3 and g3 or any other lesser known openings, so that you will have the equal advantage with your opponent, because generally e4 and d4 your opponent comes with more preparation than you, and it is really difficult to achieve equal position or get a good middle game position, because your opponent has spent more time than you since you are a beginner. So when you are playing a stronger player, it is required to play some not so popular openings. I suggest b3 because it is really very easy to remember and understand the ideas behind it. Here let's see a game played between Alexander Grischuk and Ian Nepomucci, both are grandmasters. White starts the game with b3, black responds with d5, bishop b2, bishop f5, e3, e6. Actually the black's responses here doesn't matter. Irrespective of black's moves, you can simply follow your move order and achieve your desired position. That's the beauty of this opening. You don't have to remember much. So whatever black plays, you can simply follow our move order and see. That's it. Our opening is done. We have achieved the pawn structure. We are controlling the center. We have castled. Our rooks are open. Our bishops and knights all developed. So the idea or aim behind any opening is to get the space advantage, control the center, develop the pieces, and try to attack the opponent as soon as the middle game starts. So we have achieved all of them. So the beauty of this opening is it doesn't matter whether black plays d5, e5 or any other move. You can simply follow this move order, and our target is to achieve that pawn structure that we have here, and also the piece placement. Okay, I'll show you another game where black responds with e5. Here black responds with e5 to b3, but still our move order doesn't change much. See, we moved the knight here from f3 to d2 because he has attacked our knight with his pawn on e4. So when somebody attacks our piece, it is natural that we retreat or counter attack. Again he attacks our bishop. Again we retreat. So except for the moves where he attacks our pieces with his pawns, the rest all we follow the same moves. So whenever our piece is under attack, we retreat. Otherwise we again continue with our move order. See, again we achieved our desired position. Again the same pawn structure, we have pawn on b3, pawn on c4, d4 and e3. So the advantage of playing these closed openings is you do not expose your pawns or pieces in the beginning itself. Instead of that, we play our moves on pawn moves very carefully. So we are not allowing our opponent to create any tactical positions and take advantage of it. Since our opponent, assuming that you are a beginner and our opponent is a experienced, a stronger player, so we are not allowing him to make use of his experience by playing some unfamiliar opening. He is also as new as you to the opening. This is the position that we have arrived when black responded with d5. We have developed 4 pawns, 2 bishops and 2 knights. We have castled and our rook is on e1. So whether the opponent plays d5 or e5, the pawn structure remains the same, so that you don't have to remember much. you just focus on your pawn structure and piece placement. See whether the pawn structure changed anything when the opponent responded with e5. No. This is the position that we have arrived when he has played e5. Still we have the 4 pawns on b3, c4, d4 and e3. We have developed our 2 knights, 2 bishops. Nothing much except for the knight on f3 and bishop on e2. The rest all, it is the same position, same pattern, same pawn structure and same pieces are developed here also. So you can apply this opening against any reply by black. So it is very easy to learn this opening, maybe a couple of days, not more than that. You can simply, your opening repertoire is set. You can simply ignore about opening and start focusing on the middle game and end game. So there are no traps at all, so no opponent can force you into any trap unless and until you are totally ignorant about a threat or something. Otherwise there are no traps, and you can, this is the safest and yet strongest opening for white as a beginner that I would suggest. And another choice white has is g3. You can also open the game with g3, and the advantage of g3 is you can transpose this opening into any opening. Actually virtually any opening can be transposed. You can get e4 positions, you can get d4 positions, and also you can start this g3 opening with any other moves also. Let's see here, similar to the b3 opening, irrespective of black's reply, you can continue with your moves. You can play g3, bishop g2, knight f3, castle, and then when he plays e4, sorry, when he plays e5, we respond with d3 because we have to stop his pawn from reaching the e4 square and attacking our knight. So whenever he plays this e5 move, we respond with d3. These are some basic fundamentals that you can automatically learn when you start practicing these openings on your own. See, just remember this pawn structure. That's it, we're done with our opening stage. You can see the pawn structure, it is solid. We don't have any immediate weaknesses where opponent can cash in, and you can see again our knights are developed, our bishop is well placed, we have also already castled, and now you can start focusing on the middle game ideas. Similar to the b3 setup, here also there are no traps or tricks involved where your opponent can make use of it. So whenever you're playing against a stronger or experienced players, you can simply follow this b3 or g3 opening, or you can try both alternatively, because it doesn't take much time to learn this b3 or g3 opening. And if you want to continue playing this opening at intermediate or advanced level, still you can continue it. There are certain books available on this which I'm going to suggest you, but it's not required to read those books at beginner level. You can just remember this pawn structure. You can see that we have made 3 pawn moves. We have one pawn on d3, e4 and g3, again similar to the previous opening where we have developed our 2 knights and a bishop. And the beauty of g3 is you can start the game with knight f3 also, and then move g3 and still get the same position that we have seen earlier. And we can also start with d3 and still get the same position that we have arrived earlier. So this opening has a lot of variety. You can transpose this opening into any other opening, or you can continue in the g3 style also. Depending on your opponent's reply, you can transpose this opening into any other opening according to your choice. So here I suggest a few books if you are interested, though not necessary at this level. If you want to learn the b3 opening thoroughly and continue playing it at higher level, you can refer to this book, Nimzo Larsen Attack, which helps you a lot in understanding the ideas behind the b3 opening. And if you want to learn more about the G3 opening, you can refer to this book, The Fianchetto Solution. And there are other openings also which arise out of the G3, includes King's Indian attack. So this is a flexible opening that you can start with either G3, D3, Knight F3 or E4. Virtually any move you can transpose into King's Indian attack. I enjoy playing King's Indian attack as well. Openings that you can refer in order to continue playing your openings with B3 and G3 if you like them. But at beginner level you need not refer to any books as well. You can simply follow the ideas behind the each move and play positional chess. That is enough for now. By playing these lesser known openings, we not only avoid the opening traps, but also it improves our ability to calculate and play positional chess right from the move 1. So which makes us a better chess player. Just by remembering the opening theory, we never become better players. So we need to play our original game and make our own decisions. That only helps in the longer run. So in order to achieve that, I always suggest my students to play lesser known openings and more of a positional chess, not just remembering the theory or following any tactics. Okay friends, that's it for today. In the next lesson we will discuss how to respond with blacks against any move of whites. Thank you. Keep watching Ramachandra Chess Academy. Do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.